Yeah, HQ, welcome aboard. I'm Eric Casilius. One of the favorite storylines of novels, TV shows, movies is sort of a odd couple type of theme. This guy and this guy together, paired together, living together, going cross country together. How about in the ring together? That's right. They don't look alike. They don't come from the same place. They certainly don't have the same resume. But it was about to be on, like, well, as they used to say, Donkey Kong. What happened? Let's get to it.
Adore you and want you so. I'm just a no one with nothing to give you but all.
What's up, everybody? Yes. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Pro Set. This is your boy NBY the Nerd.
Next level.
Checking in. I'm about to say checking again. Checking in with you, man. After this crazy sports week that we had, man. I'm excited about today's show. We got a lot to talk about today, man. I know I gave you a vague clip at the beginning of the show because it's going to be a lot of variety, man. This is really going to be the most different sports that we talked about so far on the Pro Set. So I'm excited about today's show. So I'll give you a little bit of a preview. We're going to jump into, of course, the big news after last night's fight with Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. And how that situation went. We're gonna jump into that. We're gonna jump into a little bit of NBA talk. The playoffs are, trucking along. They're into the second round now, but we left off with the end of the first round, so we get a chance to talk about a couple of games from the NBA that really surprised a lot of people and shock some people as well in the sports world. We're also going to talk a little bit about gymnastics. I know. You're like, what? Gymnastics? What the heck? How are you going to talk about gymnastics? Yes, we are going to talk about gymnastics. I pride myself in being a well-rounded sports fan, you know? Every so often, I get interested in gymnastics. Usually around this time, we got the Olympic trials coming up because the Olympics are going to be this year. So this is around the time where I get interested in gymnastics. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But, man, I tell you, stick with me. It's going to be a great show. Hopefully, I can make it funny for you. There was a lot of funny stuff going on this weekend as well as this entire week. And we're looking forward to what's coming up next, man. So check out this clip real quick and we'll be right back.
Floyd, you done made enough money. You convinced me to watch damn near every fight you've ever fought on pay-per-view. The ones that I didn't attend in person, I watched on pay-per-view. Floyd, let this go now. Floyd wasn't in shape to fight. Now, he wasn't in Skip Floyd. Floyd is a naturally small man. He only weighed 155. Floyd's only going to walk around at 155. That's why he can fight his whole career at 147.
Yep.
Skip, all he's taking, you go to camp for 8 weeks, you're going to drop 8 pounds easy. So that's why he was never tasked to like, oh, man, he barely made weight. Because he's a naturally small man. He's a naturally 50-poundish man. He only fought once at 154, and he didn't even make that. He fought at like 150. So for me, it wasn't entertaining. It was just a bunch of hugging and holding on. Floyd was not going to take the risk to put himself in harm's way the way he would need to knock Jake Paul out. I think Jake or Logan. Logan Paul.
He's lucky it wasn't Jake Paul, or he might have been in trouble.
Yes.
I totally agree. I was watching that fight last night, and not even just the main event. We're going to get to that. But the entire undercard of that exhibition was very much boring, man. I mean, it was very much boring. The only fight that was possibly considered entertaining was the middle fight. I think it was Harold and Barrios or something. I'm probably messing the names up. But that fight was pretty good. But the other two fights with Chad Johnson making his boxing debut, and Badu Jack fighting some dude that just showed up at the arena. Those fights were terrible, man. And I feel bad for people who had to pay that pay-per-view to watch that. And the funny thing was, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me that a lot of people actually paid directly through Showtime, and Showtime's website crashed. So a lot of people that end up paying for the fight didn't even get a chance to actually see the fight, through their service provider. So, man, it was just a lot of crazy stuff going on last night. I think the venue started to get some rain. It was boxers slipping in the ring. I've never seen that in my life. I'm sure it's happened before. I just never seen it, because usually these fights are in some kind of closed arena, but they decided to have it in Miami at the stadium, and the weather was not cooperating, man. They announced that there were about 30,000 people there, but I've seen some Instagram posts or people that were there live, and I'm like, I don't know where they get that number from, because it did not look like 30,000 people were there. Maybe 30,000 people bought the tickets and decided not to come because of the rain. But yeah, man, it was just a weird night. And then we get to the main event, and I'm already super skeptical of this situation with a great boxer, although he is 44 years old, Floyd Mayweather, going into the ring with a unproven person. I mean, I would be scared that I might hurt him. And I think a lot of people were thinking that same thing with this YouTuber, Logan Paul. And I'm just like Shannon. I get him and his brother mixed up all the time. I actually thought Jake was fighting this fight all the way up to like the week of the fight. So, but yeah, Logan Paul, who's only had one professional fight. He's done many YouTube videos where he's fought people that decided to come to his house and stuff like that, man. But he's only had one professional fight. It was a fight against another YouTuber out of England named KSI, and he couldn't even win that fight. He was exhausted, and by the end of the fight, and it showed in this fight as well. It's like all this training you're doing, this video they showed before the fight of his extensive training, and he's becoming a boxer. And by the third round, this guy was gassed, man. He was totally gassed. This is why he was grappling and holding the whole fight, man. He really did look like he needed a hug, man. I've seen so many memes about this fight where they just say, hey, man, somebody just give Logan a hug, man. He just needed a hug, man. But he made millions of dollars to get that hug with Floyd Mayweather, man. But I was surprised at the fact that he did last the entire 8 rounds, but I really do feel like Floyd Mayweather was holding back. And there were certain situations in the fight where I noticed where punches that could have been thrown weren't thrown by Mayweather. And, I get it. It's an exhibition. He didn't want to hurt the kid. But at the same time, man, as much trash talking as they did up to this fight, and it just makes me think that we saw leading up to this fight was fake, man. The whole disrespectful thing at the press conference with his brother taking his hat, it feels like all of that stuff was just gimmicks, man. And they really, really took us to the cleaner. And as Mayweather loves to say, legally robbed the bank. And I mean, the bank that they robbed last night was the American people's bank, man. And anybody that bought the pay-per-view outside of the country, they got robbed as well, man. That was probably the worst boxing event that I've ever seen in my life, and they knew it. This is why at the press conference, they tried to, say that, hey guys, even if you didn't like the situation, just be glad that you get a chance to see Floyd Mayweather, a legend, fight for probably the last time in his career. So yeah, I get it. That's not enough for me, but I guess for some boxing fans that can be enough. But nah, man, that we was looking forward to a fight. Logan should have really brought it to Floyd Mayweather. As big as he is, he should have been chasing him around the ring. But instead, he ended up running around the ring for 8 rounds. I'll give him 6. The first 2 rounds, he did kind of, go to Floyd. But after that, man, from rounds 3 to 8, man, it was just Logan running and hugging this dude. So, man, that junk was crazy. Mayweather made $30 million on his trunks. I'm happy that you made your money, man. But good gracious, you talk about a bank robbery, legal bank robbery. That definitely is what we got last night.
Unfortunately for the Lakers, all season long, they just never were able to get the continuity together, get everybody on the same floor at the same time. AD out, LeBron out, Gasol out. No excuses. I'm not making excuses. The whole team kind of went through that. But they never had a chance to really, defend their championship in full. And they always seem to play from behind. They made some mistakes. They didn't come out with the intensity that they needed in some games, and then they found themselves playing from behind as they did tonight. And you just can't win that way. Obviously, losing AD was a big issue, but it just didn't seem like they were able to respond with what they had.
All right, now let's jump into some NBA action, man. That was James Worthy, former Los Angeles Laker player in the 80s and 90s. Great player, won a few championships with the Lakers, talking about the dismal, I don't know why dismal. The dismal way the LA Lakers were exited from the playoffs by Devin Booker and the extraordinary performance of the Phoenix Suns, man. I mean, it was really a demolishing loss for the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, first of all, AD gets injured in the first 5 minutes of the game, so right there, everybody's like, oh man, this must not be our night. And then you're in LA. You know what I'm saying? You're in LA. You're thinking that you're going to win this game 6 because you're at home, take it to a game 7, and possibly live for another day. But man, the Phoenix Suns was not having it. Devin Booker especially, man, he came out on fire. I think he scored like 22, 23 points in the first quarter alone. Man, he was on fire. And the whole team, man, they were playing great. Chris Paul, everybody on the Suns was just really, really taking it to the Lakers, man. And I've never seen LeBron James act like this, man. He really was not a good sportsman in this situation, in this loss. And I get it. It's hard. You're a champion. You want to continue. You want to see if you can repeat and get that championship for the Lakers again. But at the same time, man, you got to be proud of the young kids when they get their chance. So I don't know what was going on with LeBron. I did see a photo with him and Devin Booker after the game exchanging jerseys. So at least he did that. But he did walk off the court pretty quickly. So it was, all over the news, man. People were like, what is going on with LeBron James, man? He didn't even take the chance to shake people's hands. And he just was not having it that night, man. So it's okay. I mean, the Lakers still can reboot. They got time. LeBron still could play. He had suffered the ankle injury. And I kind of felt like that, along with AD not being fully healthy, that the Lakers were going to struggle. I was kind of surprised that they even made it in with the play-in, but they did surprise me with that by beating Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. So, man, that's what's going on with the Lakers. Go down, crushing defeat, Game 6. Suns, they are going to be playing, I think, the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, I got it. Denver Nuggets, they're going to be playing. They got Joker over there, man, and he's going to bring it. So that's going to be a very interesting series. I'm excited to see it. Crazy stat, man. LeBron James, this will be the first time that he's ever been exited in the first round of the NBA playoffs in his entire career. That is pretty impressive, seeing that he came straight out of high school. And once he got into the playoffs, man, the first round was not a deterrent for him, man. He jumped straight through that and never look back. So, but this is his first time. It's a historic situation, but it can also be a sign of his decline, man. It could be a sign that he can't carry a team like he used to be able to do. He really needs the proper teammates to build a championship team. And if the Lakers really have to get back into building teams and not, just settling to, really put all the effort on their stars, because obviously a team has to win the championship. No two players can win the championship alone, man. So that's what's going on with the LA Lakers.
Kennard tries another three, and it's good. Luke Kennard, back-to-back threes. The lead is now 15. He had 2 points in 14 minutes in the prior 6 games. Leonard makes it look easy.
His impact on the offensive end.
Pass deflected and stolen. Leonard down the other end with the catch. Grab on Marjanovic. Count the basket and the foul.
But they're going to have to get stops and get some transition scores.
Leonard drives, a pull-up from Kawhi Leonard. Beautiful bounce and roll, shooter's touch. Brunson, who's strong, doesn't have the height advantage, but he's strong guarding Kawhi Leonard. The double team. George steps into a three. It's good. Paul George from downtown.
Kawhi Leonard making the play. Nobody contests. You know the rules. Hand down, man down.
Oh, yeah, that's true, man. That's Mark Jackson with his popular saying, hand down, man down. I love that when I'm watching the NBA, man. I'm so glad they brought him back to the NBA to commentate, man. He's a great commentator. But that was some highlights from the Game 7 that we had, the only Game 7 we had from the first round, which was the Dallas Mavericks versus the Los Angeles Clippers. I almost said San Antonio Spurs, but I was thinking of Kawhi Leonard, man. Man, Kawhi is my favorite player, man. I really love watching the guy. I had been disappointed with his performance over this series, but man, did he come back with a vengeance and prove himself in this game. Not that he needed to. The guy, he's already a legend just from that one season in Toronto, but man, he had been, looking bad, man. I had to really tell you, he was looking bad, missing shots, not playing with aggressiveness, getting outplayed by Luka Doncic from Dallas. It was really looking bad for the Los Angeles Clippers, but they were able to push it to Game 7, and this is what we get. We get this result, man. He goes out and scores over 40 points, puts the team on his back. Everybody steps up. Paul George, all the other players that were out there for Los Angeles step up and help out to get this win, man. And I really was doubting it. I really thought Dallas was going to put them out of the playoffs again for the second year in a row. But they came strong. They were able to finish the season strong, and now they go on to face another tough opponent, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing them in the next series when they play Utah. Oh man, that's going to be a great series, them in Utah. So we'll get a chance to see Utah, Donovan Mitchell and all of those guys, Rudy Gobert, and Utah, man. It feels like the 90s, man, when we got Utah in the Western Conference as the number 1 seed doing their thing, man. I thought I would never see the Utah Jazz at this high caliber basketball again, but they did it, man. They're back on the scene, and we're gonna get a chance to see their players play against the Clippers. Man, I'm not sure if it's going to be a matchup because Utah is an excellent team. And I hope LA took this Dallas series as a wake-up call and they get it together and they come out and play some basketball because, man, I tell you, them playing Utah, it could be dangerous.
With all due respect, the Dallas Mavericks might have Luka, but they ain't the Jazz. That's the next team. Top 4 offensively, averaging better than 116 points per game. Top 3 defensively, yielding about 107 a game. In their first round playoff series against the Utah Jazz, They got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 dudes averaging at least 17 a game. They got elite perimeters, defenders like Conley and Royce O'Neal on the perimeter. You've got Rudy Gobert, who may be Defensive Player of the Year in the interior. And, oh, by the way, they got a superstar, too, because Donovan Mitchell is on that level.
Facts.
Let me be very, very clear. I'm not speculating. I ain't guessing. I don't need to see. I've seen it. Donovan Mitchell is D-Wade 2.0. This brother is something special. And whatever you had to deal with Luka, you going to have to deal with Donovan Mitchell.
So I totally agree, man. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is an excellent basketball player. I've been watching his career over the last few years, seeing him blossom. I really like the way this guy plays basketball. I'm going to enjoy this series, even though he's going against my favorite player, and I'm rooting for the Clippers. I still love great basketball, and Donovan Mitchell provides that. And the Utah Jazz as a team, as you can hear the stats Stephen A. lays down, they are nothing to shake a stick at. They are not shabby at all. They're not the number 1 seed in the West for nothing. And we know that the West has always been a harder conference in the Eastern Conference in the past 10 years, maybe 15 years. But yeah, Jazz are going to break it. Clippers got to step their game up. And I'm telling you, man, I'm not looking forward to this series because I feel like we're going to get swept. But it's going to be a fun basketball, series to watch, guys. So make sure you tune in to the Clippers and the Jazz.
Well, she's going for her 7th national title here tonight, but this is far greater than just being here at the national championships. I mean, she has just set herself so far apart from the rest of the field, and not just on the competition floor here in Texas, but the entire universe.
Here she goes.
It's unreal.
I mean, that's what she does just throughout the entire routine. This combination, 3 elements in a row, back handspring, back layout. And, you know, she does every single skill so well. And I think people don't realize actually how difficult some of these elements are, including this dismount, 2 back handsprings into a full twisting, double back. Tim, as you mentioned, capable of doing a whole nother full rotation, which she actually performed last year at the World Championships. And she was the first to do it.
That's scary.
Named the Biles.
That is just a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, adding that full twist is next level.
It is, man. I don't know if you've seen the video of Simone Biles' performance at the National Championships of Gymnastics, but if you haven't, you need to go watch it. I'm sorry, guys. I know we talk mostly ball sports on here, but man, this gymnastics lady, she is amazing. She is a huge inspiration in this world with the black gymnastics, man. I mean, you just don't see it, man. I remember growing up really getting into watching gymnastics when the team in the 90s had Dominique Dawes, and that really actually got me looking at it as a teenager because I saw someone that looked like me doing that. Usually it's Caucasians, Europeans, Asians that are into these high levels of gymnastics, but this girl has turned her natural athleticism into skilled gymnastic, superhero-esque stuff. I mean, how high she gets on her jumps and flips is crazy, and the things she's able to do on a balance beam is ridiculous, man. I'm so impressed with this girl's skills. She's older. She's like, I don't know, in her late 20s, early 30s or something like that, is still performing like this. Is pretty cool, man. So I had to give an honorable mention, take this time out to give a shout out to one of the best gymnasts I've ever seen in my life, is Simone Biles, as she takes her 7th national championship. That is a record. Breaking records gets on my show. I don't care what sport it is, man. She has done something fantastic. So, I love how they describe I like listening to the commentary because you get a chance to see them try to really describe these flips, and I love how they get so enthusiastic about it. But I mean, this girl is so good that she has invented moves that are being used on her name. Like, people use these moves on her name, just like you got, you know, Skip to Malou, and you got the Swag God, or whatever these moves are that people, the Allen Iverson, whatever moves these guys have been attributed to their name. She has moves in the gymnastic world that are attributed to her name, and she performs them the best. Still, she does, you know, and so that is a great story. I just wanted to end the show on that positive note, talking about Simone Biles. So if you have not seen her national championship win, it's 13 minutes. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. Just type in her name. I'm telling you, you'll be impressed. If you got a daughter like me who loves gymnastics or ballerina or whatever, it's a great opportunity to sit down as a girl dad and you know, enjoy something with your daughter, man. So yeah, that's a lighter side, man. I really wanted to play that clip just so people could know. But 7 times. I mean, we praise Tom Brady, we praise Michael Jordan for their excellence and all the championships they have. Well, this lady has 7 national championships in gymnastics, so she should be praised on their same level, the same way we praise Venus Williams for her dominance in tennis. So congratulations, Simone Biles. Man, you are a great gymnast, and I can't wait to see you in the Olympics this year.
Simone, an unprecedented 7th national title. You've told us in the past that you don't really focus on the hardware, but as you make history once again, what are the emotions tied to this title?
Yeah, it's really emotional, especially going into my 2nd time doing an Olympic run. It's really crazy, and I appreciate everyone that's come out to watch and support us, especially after the year we've had.
So somebody on Twitter called the WCC squad the Gymnastics Power Rangers. It's kind of got a nice sound to it, right?
Yes.
But seriously, though, what has it meant to you to be able to share all of this with so many of your teammates and your good friends?
It's meant the world, especially having the younger ones to kind of guide through the way. I've been here for so long, so to be a mentor for them has meant everything for me, and to share these accomplishments and these goals.
Well, that's our show for tonight, man. I'm glad you guys tuned in. We got through with episode 6 of the Pro Set. I appreciate everybody coming on, listening to the show. I have so much fun doing this show. It is great to know that people enjoy what I'm doing, man. So definitely hit us up, follow us up on Twitter. We set up the Twitter page. It's twitter.com/theprosetpc. You can follow us on there. I put out stuff throughout the week on there, as well as you can follow us on YouTube, of course. And if you're wherever you're listening at, you know, you can download the podcast, 30 minutes, put it on during your workout, whatever. However you want to listen, it's great, man. So thanks again. Thanks a lot for listening to the Pro Set. I'm NBY the Nerd, and we will see you next week.
I mean, she has just set herself so far apart from the rest of the field, and not just on the competition floor here in Texas, but the entire universe.
Stephen A. Are you confident in Kawhi and PG-13, that duo now?
Hell no. I mean, I congratulate them on getting past the first round. They handled their business. I had my reservations at first. I thought they were going. I picked them to win the series at the start of the series, Max. Then I thought they were going to get swept after losing the first 2.
Mayweather kind of outboxed Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is your big winner tonight by a pretty considerable margin in the sense of, what he was able to do versus expectations. And I think Floyd had a bit of a wake-up call here. Floyd completely outboxed, and let's be clear about it, but this whole thing is predicated on whoever is the person who's the real fighter doing something that, it brings massive excitement, usually a knockout, some kind of stoppage.
And she was the first to do it.
That's
Name
scary.
the Biles.
That is just a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, adding that full twist is next level.